Welcome to Our View of Woman's Perspective, the show where real women are having real conversations about real topics. Every episode, we take a deep dive into relevant topics and get really into the nitty-gritty of it. We're not just here to chit-chat and talk and banter away. We're here to get deep into these topics, learn all about them, question things, and evolve, of course. Today, I'm joined by Bella, Mia, and Zifa, and we are having a discussion on monogamy. Is it doomed? Is it here to stay? Why are people still getting married, or why aren't they getting married? Let's chat.
Not dead, but badly wounded.
No,
badly wounded. Badly wounded.
I agree. Monogamy is definitely taking a hit these days.
Absolutely.
I would like to add, has it ever really truly existed?
That is a valid point, because I feel that, especially in our West Indian, Caribbean context, I can't tell you how many women, when their grandfather dies, you go to the funeral and you see all these outside children that you didn't know existed. I have a friend in St. Kitts who told me that there's a man, he built a house for the outside woman lives next door to the inside family, you know, and they all carpool and go to school together. And that's it. I'm like, is it? Because everybody knows. Is it really holding at that point if everybody knows? I think maybe it's just that polyamory has always existed, but maybe not. We didn't have we didn't have the language to talk about it or to give agency to it. And the fact that now people can say that they want different things, because I feel in the past, you know, like you got married for particular reasons to give you a certain social status, etc. Now those reasons no longer exist. Times have changed a little bit, you know, so we have more freedom now to kind of play around and make other decisions.
Absolutely.
Well, let me just make it lucidly clear.
That
I am a monogamous woman. I believe in it. I prefer to have one partner in life, but from my experience, I've not been seeing that being the most prevalent thing, right? So when I speak to men in the dating world, most times their preference is to have multiple partners in life. I don't understand it, I don't get it, but it is something that I've seen. Additionally, similar to you, when I think back on my family history or people that I know in my community, things that I've grown up around, I've seen that a lot, where the outside woman, they have another family, or even within the family, sometimes I've seen instances where within the family, uncle and auntie wasn't really uncle and auntie always, you know.
You understand? And everybody was the open secret.
Yeah, your face is...
But what do you mean uncle and auntie wasn't really uncle and auntie? It was
The
uncle and uncle.
children are told, this is auntie so-and-so, so that woman is treated with a certain level of respect.
Right.
But they're not trying to confuse the children, because the children can't go to school and say, well, daddy have 2 wives, because that's frowned upon in society. Because I think we had to go back to the fact that marriage and monogamy as an institution came about because the church replaced the clan structure as to how people formed family unions, etc.
My father had a girlfriend when I was very, very, very young, and I called her auntie. And I was always very, very confused.
This was while married to your mother?
No, they were divorced at that point. But I always called her auntie until the day that they separated. And I think I was maybe 12 when they separated. And then at that age, of course, I knew that wasn't my real auntie. But it was very confusing for me as a child, calling my dad's girlfriend auntie my entire life, right?
Well, if daddy
I thought it was a term of endearment and respect, right? Just calling her by her first name, and just calling her by her first name as a 4-year-old is very... I don't think it's appropriate.
And if she's not your mother, then you can't call her mommy.
Exactly.
But
I think that's also a West Indian thing, right? If I went to the States and calling people auntie, that is not my actual blood aunt. That's a very weird, you know, boundary to cross as well.
But I think what happens too is that I feel like men lean into wanting to horn, as we say colloquially, or whatever, instead of thinking of a polyamorous setup, because they think they are the only ones who want to be given the freedom to step outside and choose outside. And I'm speaking from a place of experience. When I lived in New York and was dating in New York actively, men would always say, I had one guy in particular tell me, you are home, but I like to go on vacation. And I asked him, so can I go on vacation too?
Then I think you just should have left that man there right then and there. And never looked
I would
back.
have gone on vacation.
Yeah. From him.
Cool.
Sorry.
Meet me in
Exactly.
Bora Bora.
Sorry,
Go and find a horror. I'll be in Bora Bora. You were home, but I want to go on vacation. Boy, go to La
Yeah, I would have
Paz.
left him right then and
Vacation.
there.
But I was like, can I go on vacation too?
How old were you?
And
when
he
that-
was just like, I was probably like mid-20s, you know, like hit almost close to 30.
Do you look back on that situation and think,
How did
if I knew
get
what
in
I knew
that?
now, would I just have left him there?
No, I still want, if both parties
No,
can
him
decide.
saying, I want you to stay home and I'm going on vacation.
Well, I mean, what I responded to him and told him,
Mhm.
it's like, if I can't go on vacation too,
Mhm.
then this is a moot point. We can't
Yeah.
have the conversation because whatever freedoms you think you should enjoy, I need to be able to enjoy those freedoms as well. And he was like, but why? Because he thought that women don't have the capacity to love and sleep with more than one man at the same time. And I was like, who fooled you, good sir?
Yeah.
Because if
Well,
you
I
want...
I don't think I have it within me to do that. I prefer not to put myself in that situation, and
I think you could...
but that's a personal preference. Like, I don't feel comfortable giving myself and my body to multiple people within the same time frame. Like, that
Yeah,
irks me.
That to
Eek.
me. Yeah, that's I am that kind of girl as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
I think the reason why monogamy has held on for so long is because people aren't able to address the safety concerns, the investment in terms of time, emotional capacity, finances. I think comes into play when you're in a committed relationship, and I think that's why it's held on for so long, with a lot of people getting hall passes to kind of do what they want to do on the side every now and then.
Can I bring up a different side of the topic?
Mm-hmm.
I think online dating has completely skewed monogamy. I think now that it's so easy to access so many different people in such a small
Correct.
amount of time, I don't think that's natural for the human being and the human mind. Like the fact that if I go on a date with you, and you immediately do not check one of my boxes, I can go to my pocket and swipe to see 3 different men that might, you know what I mean? And just throw away the opportunity that was in front of me just because of
They'll be
something I didn't like in the
wow,
moment.
you were taller in your dating profile.
Exactly, next.
I'm just gonna...
Yeah.
I wanted to chat a little bit with what you were saying about technology, because I do think technology has changed how many options people think they may have, and that might skew our perceptions of relationships and our
About
approach.
dating pool, yeah,
Yes.
that we have, yeah.
I think it's not even just that. Like, technology also makes it so easy to interact with people, where it's like, it invites infidelity because there's so many innocent openings. Like, you could just reply on somebody's turn and be like, oh, I love that restaurant. Oh, wow, you guys are right by my house. Hey, how's it going? You know, oh, I saw you guys went to Blanchard's for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to open up these conversations, which are initially harmless, but then you start to talk a little more and a little more, and then all of a sudden it's like you're realizing that like DMs can just become this like revolving door of people. And it's
Absolutely.
very easy with your slip, you slide. It makes it that much harder for monogamy to thrive.
How about this? Do you guys think that your partner sliding into someone's DMs is cheating?
No.
No,
No?
but I think we need to define
If you're
cheating.
sliding, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're sliding in.
If you're sliding
Like
in,
a- like
slide
a-
the hell
a-
back out.
sending-
Attention, like sliding with,
sending-
do you want to meet?
No, sending a
Netflix
sending a
and chill?
fire emoji to someone's selfie.
No.
No?
But I do think, to Sarah Jane's point about a slippery slope, right? I do feel that if you don't have emotional boundaries with your partner, then are we going to define cheating as only if somebody is physically intimate? And you could define the levels of physical intimacy
Right.
that you share with somebody else. But I do think that in today's world, because of that technology, it's very
So gray
easy
now.
Yeah.
to get into an emotional connection
yeah.
with
Which
somebody
for
else,
women-
which can then feed into a physical connection with
And
somebody else.
I think monogamy in itself is not only about marriage. It's about committing yourself to one person romantically, no matter what your situation is. And I think that's the conversation that we need to be having after the break.
Welcome back to Our View, and we are talking about monogamy. And I know some of us had some interesting questions that we posted on our socials, and I wanted to get some feedback from you guys. What were your friends saying? Did they think it was doomed? Did they think marriage was worth it? Like,
Actually, I was quite heartened by the response. I don't know if it's just that people who follow you share your opinions, so maybe that
We
it
find
might
our
be
tribe.
different to what
Yeah.
somebody else is. But I just asked, is it actually worth it in this day and age to get married? And I put that out there to Trinidad, and the response was 71% said yes and 29% said no.
That's heartening.
So,
it is.
I thought so.
So
I
on
was like,
mine,
okay.
it was neck on neck. It was like 50%. It was like 60% that yes
Okay.
and 40% no. But for there are no reasons. It was more along the lines of it's just a legality. It's just not needed in this day and age. I can still have a partner in life, but I don't need to be married to that partner to have that legal connection with that person. So that's more the
I think a
consensus
lot
I
of my
got.
people basically were saying that it depends on if you have the right partner, like then marriage, a long-term committed relationship makes a lot of sense if it's with the right person. If it's the wrong person, it can ruin your life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Divorces can be just so painful.
debilitating. Yeah.
I think that something that we should point out is that marriage has two aspects to it. One is the legal and one is the spiritual, religious side, in terms of like what type of union it is. And a lot of time when people are talking, the two definitions get mixed up, or we're speaking about one and it's the other. So like, I think that's important, a distinction to make, because something that even we have to look at is like, the government makes the rules about marriage, whether it's tax breaks or divorce law and any of these things. And they can then also change the rules, like even
Exactly.
after we've entered the union of marriage. And a lot of people don't know that, And the thing is now it's like, I look at that as just one more reason why young people don't want to get married today.
I actually saw a really funny meme where it said that monogamy is relationship capitalism. And I actually thought that was quite a good way to think about it.
Deep dive that. Yeah.
Because I feel like, so capitalism hates competition, right? It wants to make sure that it is the only system. If I'm the preferred provider for something, you only come to me to get those needs met, right? And in monogamy, this one partner is supposed to meet all your needs now, right? And I think like one commentator actually told me that polyamory, you could build a powerhouse with polyamory, right? Because you're playing to different skill sets. You can have a whole family dynamic where everybody knows and they're completely honest with each other, and you could build a dynasty based on that kind of thing. And you can't really do that if you have a completely monogamous, you're tied to this person, and you only have this fixed set and fixed network of things going on, which I thought was a very interesting way to think about it.
I'm confused. How do you build a family in a polyamorous,
Correct.
You ever
polygamy
see
relationship?
Genghis
Like, I don't
Khan? He had like a million
like,
wives.
how do you
in an
raise a
entire
child? How
dynasty.
do you instill values?
Correct.
How do you train the next generation to be like? How do you do that in a
I think if people are completely, authentically honest with each other,
and who is?
it's possible.
Like, who is?
Utopia,
Which is
so
so-
what utopia?
like,
is
So I
it?
know, I am
Like,
so
when is
I
this-
understand that it's difficult.
She's
for us,
just
but I
explaining
do
how, yeah.
feel that monogamy and heterosexuality are things that are predisposed on us, and therefore we never try to question the dominant frame of reference of how we view things.
If you think
and to
something's
think
going
that
wrong, yeah.
maybe we should explore a different way of viewing the world. And I want to give an example. So when I went to Dominica, I went whale watching. And so you have these loose pods of female whales, all females, the men leave, so they only come back in mating season. But they told us that if one whale is sick and she's nursing her young one, and she can't nurse anymore, another female whale will nurse her child.
Ew, I'm not a whale.
Okay.
No.
And I understand that, yes, I'm not a whale either.
Yeah.
But I do think that we don't have those kind of communal networks anymore
That's such an
when you're
interesting outlook.
when you're in a nuclear family situation where I have one wife who is supposed to be present and take care of the children. And what happens when tragedy happens, when sickness happens, when life happens, and you don't have the one partner can't be present for any reason to take care, to provide the support, then what? Then the nuclear family falls apart.
Yeah.
And we know what happens because our society, I think, because the nuclear family is falling apart, we have a whole bunch of other issues that we didn't quite expect.
I am for monogamy, obviously, but that is such an interesting and different viewpoint. I have never actually ever heard of that about capitalism and polyamory. So that
And also
opened my
the way our
eyes.
capitalism system
So
is set up
monogamous,
now.
but- yeah.
I feel like it costs like 3 incomes to be able to afford a house in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that I have to have 3 sexual partners to do that. I can have 3 roommates paying for the house. Like, it doesn't mean that I have
some
to
people
have
would enjoy
2
having
baby
sex with them,
daddies
you know?
and it's okay to we all live in the same
Some
place.
people would love to have
Why not?
get
Just
sex
to
out of
put-
that roommate situation.
Just to play devil's advocate, I do feel that, you know, I feel monogamy to some level in its traditional sense, whether you're within a married situation or just in a committed relationship, it tends to benefit men more than women, in my mind.
What is this,
And
a
if-
monogamous
in
situation?
moral situation, because the woman is the one doing in most situations,
Most household.
the house chores, taking care of the child, doing a lot of that emotional labor to carry a relationship, to keep a union together.
So
You know?
you are adjusting the double standard with it. So the women, we must be monogamous, but the men, they can be out there. They could be polyamorous, polygamy, whatever they choose.
I
They
think
can do that.
most modern polyamorous relationships, the ones that I know of, the men and women both kind of do whatever they
and that
want,
is-
right?
and that is
that's
the
beauty
point that
of it
I'm
for them.
making.
They both enjoy that. They live their life. Not for me, but I respect it. You know, if that works for you, go ahead and do it.
I just feel like I want us to consider and question whether or not the dominant frame of reference, which is why I brought up that whale situation or whatever kind of thing. Because while we are not animals, human beings are probably one of the few species in the animal kingdom that practice monogamy.
Yeah.
And yes, we have really big developed prefrontal cortexes. We have big brains, and we can make choices to stay with one person for an incredibly long period of time. Even the science will show you that the reason why people get bored, they get the 7-year itch, all these things is because Mother Nature hasn't programmed us to want to stay with the same person for 20-something years. We weren't built that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, how much time
Listen,
do we have?
I think
Sarah Jane's about to talk, everyone.
I think that monogamy fuels the family unit, right? And that is the role that it plays in society as well. Building that family unit together for the sustainability of the next generation as well. Because in a polyamorous scenario, what ties me to this person, the responsibilities to a person or to my family to be able to build something out of that? You don't build anything, you're just gonna be free fall. Everyone,
Sister wives have the
Bella.
most amazing family dynamic.
You're talking about a reality TV
No,
show.
sister wives is a term for people that live that site-led lifestyle.
I mean, but that's polygamy.
Yes, polygamy. But people
I
have
think that before the nuclear family became the defined dominant approach, people existed in larger family tribes and groups in different forms of society, whether it was matriarchal or patriarchal, where people sometimes had multiple partners, be it the man, be it the woman, or whatever kind of thing. And I feel that given the way our society has evolved, it's very, very hard to place the responsibility for caring on just 2 people. Because if one of these persons gets sick, injured, suffers something debilitating, it doesn't need, the support network is not wide enough when you're just depending on a traditional nuclear family.
No, I think the support system is there when you rely on a traditional nuclear family. I think that nothing is stronger than a traditional nuclear family. I think that when you're talking about a polyamorous dynasty, respectfully, that sounds just completely far removed from what the reality is. You know, when you look at polyamorous relationships, there's always issues with jealousy, insecurity, lack of structure, the children suffer, right? It doesn't last long. Whereas married people, they live longer. They're happier.
Married people don't get jealous?
Huh?
Married people don't get jealous.
I don't know
of other people?
why you put those words in my mouth, but I
No,
never
but you
said
said
that.
no, but you said that jealousy.
I
is a-
said polyamorous relationships are
one,
extremely characterized by jealousy. It's a very frequent symptom of a polyamorous setup.
But I think that can
But I
happen
definitely
in
do
any
not-
relationship, not just a polyamorous one.
It's a very common symptom that drives polyamorous relationships apart because the structure isn't there.
I think
You know,
it's
so anyway, but I just think that to me, a traditional family structure is the strongest. And I think that when you look at the statistics, the loneliest people are the people who are the victims of free love movement.
Yes,
because there's
agreed.
family structures just all over the place. And the people who ultimately suffer is children.
I think
And
people should
the
be allowed.
number one goal of a society, or any of a race, is to continue perpetuating itself forward. Once you start all this stuff to fragment, within 3 generations, we're totally screwed.
Yeah.
So marriage is the cornerstone, and it's not perfect, but I challenge you. I challenge anybody to come up with a better system
Just
you know?
because something's perfect doesn't mean that it's the best thing, or I just think it's just the only thing that we've tried. And I think I want to challenge women, not just me sitting here being devil's advocate. I want us to challenge us to think about what we truly need. What are we getting into relationships for? What are the conditions that we absolutely want a relationship, a union to bring into our lives that we're looking for? And I think if people are more clear about those things and open about them, that, you know, we could kind of shift the conversation. But let's, you know, come back to that after this.
Welcome back to Our View, a woman's perspective. Today we're talking about monogamy. And I just wanted to say that I'm aware that I'm a little juvenile in this conversation. I have my boyfriend, you know, everything is happy and dally in my life, but I have been through a couple relationships, but I've also been blessed that those relationships were always great. It was monogamous to the fullest extent on both parts,
That
to my
you know
knowledge.
of,
That I know of. But still, I've been really blessed with the people that I've chosen to share my romantic side with, and I've been blessed in all aspects of just relationship and love. But I know that some women are not as blessed and haven't, you know, been those
Like
sides.
not
And
at all. Like
and they're a
not at
little bit
all.
and they're a little bit
Not even a
jaded.
little bit.
You know, so I
Yeah.
know that I'm in this like fantasy world of, oh, love is amazing and I want to get married and I want, you know what I mean? But I can understand how some women have.
But I want to hear a little
They
bit
put the
about
brakes on it.
your
Yeah, yeah.
relationship.
Honestly, I love that for you.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
love that for
I was
you.
about to
And
say that as
hope,
well.
I hope that bubble stays unpopped.
Same. Oh my God,
forever,
same. Yeah.
You know?
So let's talk about kind of like what kind of led us to our
Yeah.
like different
So
viewpoints.
I know
kind
you're
of
married
thing.
with a baby and like just living life.
Yeah. Yeah, my boyfriend and I've been. Oh.
Now he's the boyfriend.
Listen, he does that to me all the time.
Man
We're
get
still
downgraded
understood.
and didn't even realize.
We're married less than a year. So. But my husband and I have been together for 7 years. We broke up for about a year in the middle of it, somewhere along the way. And the thing is, before him, I was in a relationship for 5 years. And literally, like, that was like, we broke up and like a month later, I got together with my husband.
That's how I am.
And
I go
just,
straight to one.
No, well, I wasn't trying that. I literally was like, go away. Like, I am a mess.
try to heal.
You know?
You're a serial
And I feel like he
monogamist.
really helped kind of put me back together, you know? But then after about 3 or 4 years, I felt like I never even got my time to just be me and
Yeah.
exist, you know?
And play
And
around.
I think, yeah, and
So
I
you're
just think it
wild
wasn't
oats.
serving us. And we said, you know what? If we are meant to be together, we'll find our way back. And we did. And it actually made us so much stronger, you know? But I think in my previous relationship, you know, it's no secret. There was definitely some messy infidelities, you know, on my partner's end, you know, and it was with a friend. And
You thought she was your friend, but she wasn't really your friend.
sis, stories
but-
that would just make your hair curl, you
Did
know,
you-
to be honest. But my point is, I think a lot of people thought that because the person that I was with had a lot of money, that it was like, oh, she's just taking that. And it was never that at all. And I think that was when it was so foreign to me to just imagine life outside of monogamy, because I was so devoted to this person that it actually like really shattered my worldview. You know, because true monogamy, this person is your best friend, you know? So it's like, it's a betrayal on 2 levels.
Of course.
And on 3 levels, because it's literally your other friend as well. Somebody you have pictures with, somebody you go out with,
But do
somebody
you
you line
think-
with.
I feel like
you know?
monogamy, whether it's within marriage or just within a long-term committed relationship, puts this great pressure. You have to find somebody who, let me finish my thoughts.
Oh, I'm just you looking at me, so I'm gonna answer you.
You know,
right?
puts this, you know, I feel
Sorry.
like there's all this pressure to find somebody who meets all your needs. And I feel like, so do you feel that makes it really challenging to find this one person who can be your best friend, your confidant, your partner, who wants to do life with you, wants to do everything in life with you, and there's no room for you to just still maintain your own individuality and your own friends, and, you know, just being able to just like be your own separate person and have an identity outside of wife. or
I
real
thi-
friend.
I think that there's something called the soulmate myth, which a lot of us who grew up on Disney movies,
Happily ever after.
I think
grew
divorce
up
lawyers created
thinking
soulmate.
that,
Ban Disney, guys. Ban Disney.
And
Ban
we-
Disney.
I look at my husband now and it's like, my husband is my soulmate because I chose him.
Exactly.
Not I chose my husband because he is my soulmate.
Thank you.
There could theoretically, if I got up and moved to England after that breakup, I would be married or would have found another man in England over there. I don't believe that there's one person on planet Earth for me. I chose my husband.
Exactly.
And it's not just because I love him that I stayed, with him and I'm monogamous. It's because I feel a sense of duty. The butterflies, they fly away. But I understand that I took an oath and it's a sacrament and it's a special thing and I have a responsibility to my child and to my husband to monogamy.
Yeah.
And that's the problem
but-
too, is like a lot of women, they get ignored and they get overlooked. So when they have an affair, it's like they're looking for like a soft place to land. But when men have an affair, usually it's like, maybe I'm being overgenerous, but it's like, is he secretary or he's doing some stupidness or he can't keep it in his pants, and like a lot of times for women, it's emotional, they need that support. But then again, is it that just women are just better at rationalizing their affairs? I don't know.
Well, I think I want to introduce is I think that women are now facing I don't want to say a scarcity on some level of suitable
drought
of suitable partners.
Which is why there is a misconception that men or high value men, as society like to call them, have the right to have multiple partners because they can. And it's okay because they may be able to afford taking care of business.
I think they are realizing.
They can, but
so when I
buy
lived in New York, there were a ton of articles coming out that Black educated women outnumber Black educated men. The reality is that if you go on any college campus now, even the university right here, if you go to the graduation class, 70% of the graduates are female. When I was a teenager, my father was like, who are these women going to get married to?
Correct.
Y'all know you're bright. Y'all going to make more money. Which man y'all going to find? Because men in general, if they go to the scientific research, they like smart women, but they don't want to be with a woman who they're thinking outsmart them.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think at the top of the pyramid, I would say maybe the top 5% of men around the world are probably doing really, really well. But then you have this swath below, not necessarily so much, and the ones who are at the top, like the men who I was trying to date in New York, they know for every one of them, there is 6 of me. Not them men playing the numbers game all day from now till 2050. And what am I supposed to do in that situation? Sit down and be like, oh, I love you, I value you, I'm going to be this monogamous person, when I know you going to horn me with Mary, Judy, Shanika, Judy, everybody,
I think it's so easy for us to look at a situation like that and just lower our standards.
Yeah.
But like, for me personally, like, what I would say to women of Trinidad is like, hold on to your value. Hold on to be exclusive.
Yeah.
Even if you were the last female on earth who is like, I'm not gonna sleep around with everybody, like, I would hold on to that so much and like treat yourself with that reverence, because trust me, there is a man out there who will spot you and value you.
This is a little bit spicy, but I feel a lot of my friends, especially now at this age, are dating out of desperation almost.
It's codependency. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. They're very desperate. And the men that my friends pick, because I see my friends as these beautiful, smart, intelligent, educated, accomplished women, and they are picking these men that just show them a minute of the day. You know what I mean?
The pool is shrinking, and women only like to date either horizontally and upwards. We need men who are either on our level and above. That's what they want. This doesn't go so well.
No, exactly.
So like
these
men have
great
a lot
women,
of women available to them.
Exactly. So these great women, it's like the higher you climb up the career chain, the more money you're making, the more beautiful you are, the more better catch you are, is the less men you can pick from.
Exactly.
The relationship
So it's like a
scientists will
catch-22.
tell you that the numbers are not in our favor. That's just the reality of it. It literally is
So then does
the
that
Hunger
mean,
Games.
So then does that mean that I
Hunger
have to
Games.
share? Does that mean that I have to share?
Bella volunteers as tribute. She wants a man.
You could do, I don't know when you
Bella
became
wants
a
a good
spokesperson for
man to
Paul.
marry.
I know you're on a committee.
I'm saying it so passionately because I have tried.
Yeah.
I have tried, you guys. I have tried.
Guys, she has a
to
lot to offer,
entertain. I have tried to entertain the
Bella That's a bachelorette.
of
We need-
non-monogamy. I've tried to entertain the idea of having multiple partners. I've tried. I just don't like how it feels. I don't like what it does to me mentally, and to my beliefs, my
Correct.
morals, my values, my core values is the most important thing. And I think what's happening right now is people are going against their core values because
Correct.
they think the circumstances is this and I just have to accept it. But if we work on ourselves, codependency issues, childhood trauma, daddy issues, these are all things that contribute to women lowering their standards in these situations.
Exactly.
And I would ask, in this scenario, I would ask, is it that society is opening up to the idea of having a polyamorous polygamy kind of situation, or is it that women are not addressing their self issues and are lowering their standards because they think that they're not going to find a partner?
Well, I think nobody is addressing their issues. Either
they do,
women
not.
or men. I don't think anybody's
No, just know with their own self-trauma.
Nobody is discussing that.
Yes,
So I
no.
feel like what happens is people.
It's a blame game.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you,
absolutely.
and it's not just women who are guilty of codependency. I feel there are lots of men who don't go into relationships with or any kind of dating situation with intention and be like, what do I need? What am I looking for? What will fulfill me? People aren't asking
So they're
themselves questions.
confused.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times a man has told me, you know what, I really like you, but I don't know what I want right now.
Oh,
And I'm like,
God.
Oh, I've
gonna have this
gotten
conversation
reversed
again?
because I feel I'm the queen of men who have women. They had a wife, they had a girlfriend, they ain't leaving them. You understand? But they come and they tell me, when I was getting married, I didn't know women like you existed. You like sports, you smoke cigars, you can also can banter and still cook. Like, you know, I am some kind of unicorn, right? That, you know, they didn't know existed. I'm like, well, then maybe you should have waited a little longer. Because what I'm supposed to do for me right now? So now I had to share you with marriage.
Well, men in particular are waiting really long to get married, you know, and I think that's just passing down to us. Like we put it out there and ask people like, why are you all sticking to get married? Too many poor examples of marriage. A lot of people feel like it's just about the legalities now. You know, horn culture, social media. These were some of the feedback that we were getting. And of course, low quality men. I kept hearing that, but then I also heard men say, I can't find a woman. So it's like, I don't understand. They're
find
out
the
there.
woman
The
they're
two
looking
sides
for.
just can't relate to each other. And another one that surprised me a lot that kept popping up is in-laws. People were
Really?
having issues marrying into in-laws. But anyway, that's a whole other shebang. And a shout out to my in-laws. I love them. Just saying.
She's like coming in a good grace.
He's like, make sure.
I'm not dropping any hints.
She wants to
okay?
be invited for Christmas.
Anyway, we'll get into it right after the break. We will be right back.
welcome back to our review. Monogamy, is it doomed? Is it not? Before the break, Mia, you actually made a really good point that I wanted to just bring back up at
Yeah.
this time.
Well, it's just really a question, you know, can you be monogamous while you're single? Like while you're actively dating, looking for a partner, can you be monogamous in that realm? Like if you're single and you're dating, any date that you go on, are you going on that date with intent that that's the one?
Well, I think you don't have to be.
I know.
But as a woman in Trinidad, if you don't appear to be, somebody will call you an old hoe.
Exactly. When I was dating between boyfriends, I was casually dating. That's how I met my boyfriend right now.
Right.
You know, I actually met him not to be a hypocrite, but to be a hypocrite. I met him on a dating app.
Right.
Exactly. And it was very casual. I was honestly just kind of looking for a hookup, and it turned out that we were just intensely compatible, and he was looking for the same thing. And when we met, it was honestly like fireworks in that moment.
I feel like it doesn't happen that organically for a lot of us kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I think from my perspective, like I try to like date with intent. You know, like do you want a long-term relationship? Is that what you're looking for? And a lot of men just want to hook up.
I felt like when
Yeah.
I was dating for intent, I was getting let down a lot. And so when I got into dating casually, my
But
my standards were not.
define dating casually.
So
though.
you're telling me that's what I
dating
should do?
without
Yeah.
That's what I should do.
No, seriously, every
Without
time I went,
expectation.
yeah, when I went into dating with like thinking, okay, this might be the one, like he has all the boxes ticked, and then I went on the date and then I was really let down by his personality or something that I didn't see
I think
through
we
the
disagree,
profile.
we disagree
Optimism
when
can
it
be
comes on what it means
heartbreaking.
to date with
Exactly.
intent. When I say date with intent, I mean being very, very clear about who I am and the type of relationship I want to be in and what good looks like for me, what my standards are. So I know how I expect to be treated. And if I don't see or feel like if I'm getting that kind of treatment, if you don't take any time to plan a date. Like I blocked a fella recently because all he's do is message and say, hey, what's up?
No,
He can't plan nothing.
have to come
Hey,
up
what's
with
up?
something.
No.
Or he'll come and say, you know, I love the way you look. Can I come over and watch you just work out in your gym? Excuse? Like, am I the Hottentot Venus? Like, what we doing here? What you really looking for?
You have to come with me with a date, a time, a
Yes.
place, and a very, very nice
And
complimentary message.
please.
But I
Like,
think in
take the
our
lead, you
society, we don't really do that because I literally have men on Twitter being like, bad man don't date. We believe that men and women are from Mars and Venus, right? So nobody could come to an agreement. So therefore we had to decide that we're always gonna have some kind of problem, but I want to be with you and you want to be with me, and that's how we roll. And I think that's a recipe for disaster, if I'm being honest. You know? Bella, you're looking like you have some questions. Come, tell me,
No, I'm
tell me.
just-
But in
it's
your dating life
processing.
right now, yeah, how are you navigating that?
With great difficulty. Like, I don't know what to
Let's be
say.
honest. No, it's gotten to
Like-
the point, guys, where I've been asking my friends to set me up, full disclosure. And my friends, every time I tell them, because I'm 41, when I tell my guy friends, do you all know any guys who are like, you know,
No, but I'll
over
tell you this
35
though.
who's single? They laugh at me, guys. They laugh at me.
When I have to go out, if somebody asks me out or to ask to date me, that's not my problem, you know. And my problem is not about dating multiple people and trying to figure out your options. That is not my problem. My problem is when we've already established that there is a connection, we do have something going, and then I'm met with, yeah, but I just want to have more than one woman, like, and I just want you to be okay with that. And that is where that is what I'm getting more and more and more. And I don't know if there is a difference or a difference between what's going on with Trinidadian men versus what's going on with Trinidadian women, which could also be a whole separate topic on itself, because I feel like the men are in this place where they believe that it's their time to explore their options, and the woman, especially someone of my age, we are in that space of, I believe that this is time for me to settle down.
And
it's
the men felt that they
we
didn't
just
do
on two
enough
the
exploring in their
opposite ends.
20s. You know, I reject the notion that that's the way it is, but I do feel that as a society, we tend to force people to get into long-term relationships very, very quickly, that we don't have English spent over 10 years outside. We don't have a dating culture. We slime in groups or whatever kind of thing, and then people just end up getting together, and then, well, my friends know your friends, and we hang out together. Next minute, you know, we married. We can't have a wedding. 5 years down the road, even though we never really had hard conversations about our view to monogamy kind of thing. If we think, what happens if somebody cheats? You know, what defines cheating? We don't have them kind of hard questions when you're in the, oh, love is lovely phase of life.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, I want to have them hard questions up front, because I know biologically, the 7-year itch gonna come at some point in time. What strategies we're using from now to mitigate that when it happens?
And Sarah, going back to you asking why aren't young people getting married earlier, or that it's taking a long time to get married, I think it's because we have so many options right now. But the thing is, the quality of option is not very high, right?
think
We
we
have
have
a lot.
options.
We have,
Social media
we think,
culture that has
we
Yeah.
think
painted a
we have
picture.
options. We think we see this person's profile, and we've kind of created a persona for them in our own heads, right? I'm a victim of that. I have done that before, where I see a picture of a man and I kind of build him up in my head, and when I meet him in real life, he does not meet any expectation that I had, and then I walk away kind of bruised, right? And so I think a lot of people have that outlook now, especially with, you know, with Facebook and Instagram and all these dating apps, and you have such an array of people that we can see, swipe through in maybe 30 seconds.
So
Do you
then
know
does
what I
that mean then
And you're
that
disappointed 10 years down the
maybe
road.
it was something that we could have done, but now monogamy is something that's just unnatural to us because of the circumstances of what
Yeah,
we
definitely.
live in now? Is it that, do we think that? Like,
Well,
I
I
would like to
think-
believe differently, but do we think now that because of the openness of the world and social media and what we are now exposed to, and the openness of being yourself in different ways, from sexuality to all of that, do we believe then that it is okay to have these arrangements with your partner?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, I think there are lots of reasons for what you're saying there. Technology is part of it. We think we have a lot of options, but I mean, if you're on Tinder and you're swiping and you see, okay, I have 500 potential matches or whatever in my area, those 500 matches, not necessarily have you gone out with them, have you spoken to them, do you know if you like them, or you know, you're just thinking in your mind that I have all these options.
I'm supposed to like control my face. I just heard like matches and I was like, oh God. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Apps?
All right, Miss Charleston, dating online in Trinidad is not dating online in America. America is like a revolving door and you're like, wow. Ooh.
Is that Facebook dating here? They're not doing
Trinidad
Facebook
is
dating
like
now?
singles in your area. And you're like,
Is it like still Craigslist or whatever?
Who is that? Like,
I think it's gone so bad, like,
is it still in the ads on
dating,
the,
to me, I don't think it happens, and I'm glad
I
for
spent
it.
about a month on Tinder, and
in the
literally it
classic
got to the point where the app was recycling people that I already swiped on.
Yeah, no, people
just came
don't
off.
online date. That, to me, I'm happy that in Trinidad we still value in-person interaction, coming up and taking a wine, hey, let me get you a drink, that kind of thing, you know?
No, but even if it's like a blind date that a friend set you up with, sends you their profile or something, you can still see them on Instagram. You can still kind of build an image of this person in your head, see their hobbies, see their likes on, you know, through pictures and through their socials and stuff like that. And then you take all that in, meet them, and then it just kind of doesn't ever match up, right? So it doesn't have to be a dating app per se, but it can just be socials and seeing people before you even meet them, right? Having the opportunity to see people and see their lives before you even meet them.
Because society is a lot more open, and because you can see a lot more, you know, and people like to say that men are very visual creatures, right? I think women are visual too, but they like to say that, you know, if man sees something looking good, he sees in a little bikini, he sees the girls outside.
They zone in on the face. They get
just
lost on the face.
You know, they start to drop things, they slide into somebody's DMs, and it's so very easy to do that, right? And I think the thought is that because I can do that or whatever, and I want to keep doing that, I don't want to give all of that up. Even if I have a great vibe or a great bond with somebody. So your point of the men being like, yeah, you're great. You know, I love spending time with you. I want to be with you. But you know, every now and then.
Everything. Like,
every now and then.
I want to travel. I want to do all of the relationshipy things. But you know what? I'm just not there.
He wants to go on vacation. That's like what the men in New York, he wants to go on vacation every now and then.
I do think that Instagram has kind of screwed us in the head where like we're not. Like the thing with marriage is that like marriage allows you to take strides as a pair because you trust. Like, you know, if you get married to this person, you can now like open a bank account with them, buy a house together, have a child together. Like those
Really
are
do
things
life
where
with them.
if you're in a relationship, it's like this person could wake up tomorrow and break up with me. So I can't make those serious life decisions with them. So for that reason,
And that is why I think
monogamy has value and will always have value because it's like I feel more comfortable because the exit strategy of a marriage is a little harder.
Yeah.
You know, so that is always going to have a place. And I think that now, as things are getting so chaotic, you're actually seeing a return to it because people are realizing they have to claw their way back to that because that's the only way you can achieve those heights together. But it takes sacrifice and it takes risk.
And
Anything worth having, there is the risk of getting your heart broken. Anything worth having, there is sacrifices that need to be made. Otherwise, you can't go the fullest extent. That is my takeaway from this conversation.
I think monogamy for high net worth individuals is starting to make a little less sense because they don't need, if you're making enough money to buy a house for yourself, you don't need a joint, you don't need a partner to qualify to create the $18,000 or the $20,000 to afford a house. Yeah. If I don't need a man to do that, then what the man doing? What the man here for? It raises other questions for me, and I think that we need to understand, like, what are we getting into this union, monogamous or otherwise? What are we trying to get out of it? Is it financial support? Is it a partner to help pay for things? Is it emotional intimacy? Like, is it the travel buddy, etc. that we're looking for? I think we need to be really clear with ourselves first, and then we can be clear with other people about what we're looking for. You know, to your point where you've tried to explore, you know, being with other people and it doesn't work for you. You know, I think it's perfectly capable. I am perfectly capable of being with two different people at the same time. Once both people know about each other, I'm very big on people being honest. We don't have no secrets around here. Let's figure out what it is we doing. Exactly. Big people thing that
so
we have
managing expectations.
Managing
is
expectations.
Your takeaway.
Yes, because I do feel that you're not going to create the exact same union with two different people. You know, and I do think that we should be open to questioning and exploring that and deciding whether or not it's for you, I think that's something we should all be willing to do, as opposed to just assuming that, you know, I have to be monogamous.
I think we did an amazing job of discussing that topic, Kay. You know, exploring
It's not
what works,
easy.
exploring what works for us, especially individually, and for Trinidad themselves. You know,
To Bella's point, it's real
Exactly,
hard for
it's
us out
definitely
here.
yeah, absolutely.
Hunger Games.
It is hard.
What about you,
But I still
Bella?
have hope.
That hope didn't sound very hopeful. It didn't sound very
Bella is
hopeful.
single and ready to mingle.
No,
I
and
mean,
Bella, that we laugh,
listen.
but that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
No.
hope is good.
Yes, yes.
So the
You
thing
know,
is, I
Guys,
don't judge
622
people.
Bella, right? She's here, she's ready.
Single
Rise
now.
her up. Put that
So-
woman in a house.
I feel like the space for
You have to
having
break.
multiple partners and polyamory is opening up now. And nothing is wrong with that if that is your preference. For me, it's not my preference, but nothing is wrong with that if that is your preference. Big people thing, you know it, and whatnot. For me, I do believe that there is something very special in choosing someone. And I love what you
The
said
power
about
of
choice.
I
That
think what's-
choice in saying that I want to give myself in this way to this. I was in a 10-year relationship already, and it wasn't that I had everything I wanted in that relationship, but I made the choice to commit myself to that person, and I think that is something extremely beautiful, and it's
Yeah.
something that I long for and I would like to do again.
And
I love that.
I want to be in
Ladies.
that safe space, but you know, I have to feel that it's right for me and it benefits me too.
You know, and I love the quote, "Love is lovely," and we've had a lot to discuss today and a lot to talk about and a lot to take home and debrief. And I hope that we've given you something to take home and think about Trinidad. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Our View, A Woman's Perspective. See you next time.